Yo, what's going on guys? Arekkz here, welcome back to another Monster Hunter World video. I am back again with yet more gameplay for you guys straight from Gamescom, and this time we are talking about one of the gunner weapons, a means for you to dish out big damage from afar, and I am of course talking about the Heavy Bowgun. If you guys missed any of the videos that I've uploaded so far, then be sure to check them out either on the channel, or you can check out the full Monster Hunter World playlist in the description box down below. And while you're there, if you haven't already entered the PS4 Pro Giveaway that we're running, then be sure to do so. It runs for another week and a bit, so for those of you guys after PS4 to play Monster Hunter next year, then this is your chance to win. Of course, if you do enjoy the video, then a like would be super appreciated, and be sure to comment down below, let me know what you guys think of the changes to the Heavy Bowgun in Monster Hunter World. Now, to begin with, for those of you that are new to Monster Hunter, the Heavy Bowgun controls in a very similar way to its little brother, the Light Bowgun. Both weapons are easy to use, with limited button inputs to worry about, but their variety and complexity comes in the wide range of ammo types they both have at their disposal. Where the Light Bowgun focuses more on speed, agility, and inflicting a plethora of status and elemental effects on a monster, the Heavy Bowgun is much more about raw power. Think of it like the great sword for the gunners. It's slower, but your trade-off for that is high damage output. You might not have the same variety of bullets that the Light Bowgun does, but the bullets you do have sure do hit hard. Pair that with some of the new additions in Monster Hunter World, and you have a genuine recipe for some seriously high damage output. To begin with, if we dive into the Hunter Notes, you will see that it's got the exact same controls as the Light Bowgun, and the same lack of a useful combos tab. Since it's a gun, you don't really have combos, at least not in the conventional sense. You press or hold R2 to fire, and you can either fire from the hip, or you can hold down L2 and bring up your crosshairs and zoom ever so slightly. The first person zoom mode from previous entries in the series is gone, and that's largely based on the way the weapon now behaves. See, both the Light Bowgun and Heavy Bowguns can move and shoot. Heavy Bowgun is considerably slower, but regardless, you are no longer rooted to the ground with every shot. In previous games, the ability to zoom made sense since you'd move around, find a place to set up, and then shoot from there before you then move again. Meanwhile, in Monster Hunter World, that zoomed in mode whilst moving in third person would likely have made for some rather dizzying gameplay, so ultimately, they opted for this instead. And in truth, I'm completely fine with it. It works incredibly well in game and feels really natural. The core gameplay experience of the Heavy Bowgun is still intact, you are just a little bit more fluid or mobile this time round. If you guys have ever played anything like Lost Planet or Gears of War and walked around with a heavy gun like a machine gun, it feels something like that. Pressing triangle will reload your shots, and if you hold down triangle you can reload all your ammo in order. Of course, holding down L1 and pressing X or triangle allows you to cycle through your different ammo types. And new to Monster Hunter World, pressing circle allows you to load your special ammo type. And what's cool is that the Gamescom build actually gave us access to two different Heavy Bowguns, each of which had a different special ammo type. So if you take a look at the weapon details page, you'll see it lists the special ammo type here. The Gatling Fire is the one we've seen the most of, but we also have access to a second one called Wyvern Snipe. Apologies, that's literally the one thing I forgot to record, the actual weapon page. We've got gameplay of Wyvern Snipe, I just haven't got this screen here, so you have to take my word for it. This Heavy Bowgun here has the Wyvern Snipe ammo. And these ammo types work off a meter system whereby once they're used, they have to regenerate over time. So you won't run out of them in the conventional sense, but you will need to allow for them to cool down. Gatling Fire looks a little something like this.
Say hello to my little friend!
Meanwhile, Wyvern Snipe, this is the one we saw in the most recent trailer where the hunter lies on the floor. For this one, you have one single shot. It seems to do a hell of a lot of damage, and given the snipe component of the name, it's also got some pretty decent range too. Both of these, once used, will begin regenerating over time, and then once they're back, you can use them again. Actually, Gatling Fire can be used before it's fully regenerated, but you can only shoot for as long as you have meter, so if you want to get the most out of it, then you want to let it charge up. Additionally, whilst firing shots, you of course have access to your dodge roll, so you can be a little bit more nimble despite the weight of your weapon. And finally, pressing triangle and circle together will allow you to melee. Not especially useful in general combat, but in Monster Hunter World it does have some interesting utility. I've mentioned this before, but there are environmental traps, and these are typically triggered on impact. The shock frogs, poison plants, and flash flies, you can interact with them like normal, you can shoot a slinger at them, or in the case of this flash fly, you can melee it with your bowgun, so it definitely gets a bit more use than before. The last thing I want to show off before I let you guys just watch the gameplay are the Wyvern shots. Similar to Wyvern Fire of old, they're available in World, and they look pretty sweet in combat. Of course, all the other ammo types I'll be sure to cover in much greater detail once the game comes out, and I actually have time to sit down and properly test them all out, but for the time being, that should do. Additionally, one last thing, you'll notice that you still maintain the ability to mod your bowguns. In this instance, the Heavy Bowgun actually has a shield applied, but beyond that, we don't really know what mods will be available just yet. I'd imagine barrel mods are a given, but since we no longer go into first-person mode, I'd be interested to see if something else takes the place of the conventional scopes. But either way, for now, that was a look at the Heavy Bowgun, or guns, in Monster Hunter World. I'll leave you with a bit of gameplay of both the Gatling Fire and Wyvern Snipe bowguns against the Great Jagras, so you can see them both in action and hear them in all their glory. I will say that the fact that we've now seen two different special ammo types does make me excited to see if there are any more. We know Light Bowgun has Wyvern Blast, so there could be some pretty exciting options out there. But of course, only time will tell. So for now, thank you very much for watching, be sure to keep it locked for much more, and take it easy, catch you next time, peace out.
Dodge their attacks. You don't want to take hits like that head on. Look, the monster's almost done for. Chances are it'll retreat to its nest to recuperate. Their attacks. You don't want to take hits like that head on. The monster's been immobilized. Now's your chance. Be ready for some vicious attacks. The monster's almost done for. Chances are it'll retreat to its nest to recuperate.